Hello everyone and welcome back to Marvel Rivals. I know it has been a while since we have been here. The last time we were here was Season 0. It's now Season 2.5 and I want to go ahead and go over some of the characters that have been added since then. You know, just to kind of like give some people a look at some of them in terms of like... Yeah, I went over the roster when it launched, and some characters have been added since then, and I feel like I've gotten a better grasp and such of the roster and the game itself since then. Also, the game has gone under a number of improvements and updates and changes. Just for example, look at the roster screen here. You'll notice there's a number of things here that just give you more information right away. For one thing, it lets you know, okay, this is the strategist or strategist symbol, excuse me. It also shows you what proficiency you are at with a certain character, and it shows what skin you currently have equipped on that character. So just right away, and plus there's also this filter that lets you look at specific classes as well. Really cool stuff here. The Teamups have gone some changes since... quite a bit has changed for this game since Season 0. I've been able to... There's a number of events that are going on right now. I've been able to finish this Battle Pass, and I'm just earning stuff for the currency here. But yeah. So let's go ahead and dive into the practice range and go over the characters I haven't covered yet. So I guess we'll start with... Hold on.
I didn't always love my powers, but now I think they're great.
Okay, I wasn't sure if the sound was on because at first I didn't hear anything, but then I realized that's not quite how it works here in the practice range. So since launch, we had some new characters added, mainly the Fantastic Four.
Even in the face of cosmic cataclysm, every one of us can make a difference.
So yeah, Reed Richards is in, Mr. Fantastic. He is a melee DPS. He's kind of goofy. He of course can stretch out his arms for long range attacks. I haven't played him that much, even though apparently when he first entered the game, he actually was not considered very good by a lot of people. But apparently nowadays, he's actually considered really strong. So, as you can see, his left click is his basic attack, where it stretches out. But the cool thing that people found out is that you can actually move this across, like this. You see that? You see how the arm moves across like that? You can do this to cleave. It's hard to show that with just Luna Snow right there, but let me try and show this here. You'll notice how it's hitting multiple enemies because I'm moving it across like that.
Trouble has arrived.
And then he does this. So he has this other thing. It's a passive called Elastic Strength. Using his abilities will generate elasticity. Reaching full elasticity triggers an inflated state that grants him shield and enhanced damage. And there's a number of ways that works. You do just regular damage from your punches. His E is Flexible Elongation. Gain a shield, select a target, and dash towards them, either dealing damage to an enemy or granting a shield to an ally. So you can do this to an enemy, which gives you the shield and damage them, or you can do this to an ally, in which case that gave my ally there a shield. And as you can see the little number below my crosshairs there. That's where you can keep track of what your elasticity is. Now his right click is interesting. I think it was shown in the highlight video, and people were like, oh, what? But basically, you can extend your arms forward to entangle an enemy, and then left click to pull the hit enemy towards you, or select and yank another enemy, knocking them airborne against each other. Alright, hold on. Let me,
Not so fast, friend. Double
Yeah, like that.
failure.
So you can grab him, and then you can select someone else, and BAM!
Your failure was inevitable. Well, hello there. Double the fun.
And then you can just smack them up against each other like the Stooges. Woo!
Double KO!
But yeah, you can see he gets really big.
I've got you.
So look at his health. All of a sudden he gets like, 400 bonus health. He can get up to like 800 health there for a moment. And he does, of course, do more damage.
Sorry about that.
Double
So yeah, he can be pretty strong. I guess if you just kind of like take the time to learn how to play him, of course. Now, his ult... Also, hold on, before I get to his ult, there's one more thing. He's actually pretty tanky as well, because not only does he generate bonus health with his passive, but he also becomes a reflexive rubber form. Stretch body to absorb damage before launching store damage to a targeted direction. So, when they showed this in the video, they showed him absorbing an Iron Man ult and then launching a portion of it back at Iron Man, which is this.
Ha ha! A futile attempt.
So as you can see, it lasts for like 4 seconds?
That almost hurt.
3 to 4 seconds, and of course you absorb it. You're basically invulnerable in this state, and then you just launch it back.
That almost hurt. That was simple. This should come in handy.
So then his ult, well, this is where it gets really silly.
Fantastic! Ha ha! Ha ha! Ha ha! I thought this.
Double
You
KO!
that.
Ha ha! Ha ha! Ha ha! Ho ho! If there's anything people know about this character, it's that, when he's making those sounds when he's ulting. It's so silly. And of course he yells, "Fantastic!" Leap upward and smash the ground, slowing enemies within range, and can leap again upon landing a hit. So the more hits you land, the more you can keep going.
Fantastic! Ha ha!
This does get him into his big inflated state. Though I believe people said that if you're able to get into the big inflated state before that happens, before you pop your ult, you can be able to actually, like,
Got you.
carry that over into the ult, making you even more tanky.
Fantastic!
Unless that was changed, because it looks like it didn't actually change that much.
Double KO!
That's one down.
So yeah, that's Reed Richards. Now, like the other members of the Fantastic Four, he has a team-up. Mainly with his wife, Sue. So, this is like... It's called Wedded Harmony, but it, as you can see, this also applies to the other members of the Fantastic Four as well. The Invisible Woman taps into her powers, channeling psionic might to fortify the entire Fantastic Four team. This formidable force bolsters Human Torch, The Thing, and Mr. Fantastic, granting them damage resistance. Once activated, they can continuously generate bonus health, making up for lost health. Now, I haven't really messed around with this that much with Mr. Fantastic, because I haven't played Mr. Fantastic that much. But I can, I'll talk about this more when we get to The Thing. It definitely helps with The Thing. So let's go ahead and activate this. Just so I can show it.
Good work, Susan.
They look like they
Oh,
mean
hold on, that's
business.
not... Hold on. Let me fix that. There we go. There we go.
Winning isn't always about hitting
So basically, when you activate
harder.
this,
Sometimes it's about thinking harder.
you see he gets like that barrier around him, and that generates some bonus health. That's basically how that works.
A force field. Not so
Which, considering that he's also able to constantly generate bonus health with his passive anyway, you can guess why that's pretty strong on him.
Shield activated.
See, now he's got 925 health. This is what I mean when I talk about how he's actually one of the tankiest DPS in the game. Especially when you also consider this as well.
Futile attempt.
His voice actor is so silly, so
Been
goofy.
discovered.
So, Reed was added to the game in Season 1, along with Sue.
Even when the multiverse is in danger, Family still comes first.
So Sue is probably still one of the best healers in the entire game. Her main attack is Orb Projection, where she launches a force field that can pierce heroes flying to maximum distance before returning to Invisible Woman, which damages enemies and heals teammates.
You needed a timeout.
As you can see, it's pretty good range, and the fact that it comes back like a boomerang. And that it pierces? Yeah. And again, this also heals. This is one of my usual ways of playing her, is just having her behind a line of people, whether it be allies or enemies, and you can just both cause damage and healing as well. Now, the projectiles are not that wide, it's not that, they're not that large, so you do have to have rather decent aim, but there are other ways. Like this. So that is her right click. Guardian Shield generates a force shield in front of a selected ally. The shield can block damage and provide healing over time to nearby allies. Enemies that pass through the shield are slowed. So of course they can damage the shield and cause it to go away, but for a bit of time, it blocks damage and it is able to heal your allies. So like this is really helpful because you can also put this in the air for airborne allies. So if you have an Iron Man or a Storm on your team, you can be able to then just go ahead and put that in front of them and it heals them over time while they are in the air. It's pretty helpful. Her shift is Psionic Vortex. Gather psionic energy and then cast it upon hitting a target. Seen or by pressing shift again to erupt into a psionic vortex, continuously drawing in enemies and causing damage.
Force burst!
Her other interesting ability is her E, Force Physics. Manipulate psionic energy to either push or pull enemies in front of you.
Psionic Surge! Feel the pull! That was a total blindside. Double KO! Psionic Burst! 3!
So it killed that thing, but
How embarrassing.
let's just say I've seen people use this to do that. Get them over the edge. Now, I've seen even people, they will have her because she also has a passive. You'll notice she has a passive called Covert Advance, where she enters an invisible state sometime after disengaging from combat and granting herself healing over time. So, if she's low on health,
like they mean business.
Doing anything like healing or attacking basically brings you out of an invisible state. But if you wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you do have to wait a little bit. Or you can do that. So her jump, she has a double jump called Veiled Step. Generates a force field at your feet. Stepping onto it propels you into your invisible state. So if you're getting dove by somebody like a Black Panther, or say a Spider-Man, you can try and do this to get yourself away as well as get yourself into a visible state to start healing yourself. But keep in mind, if something does hit you, it brings you out of it, and well, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think Spideys can still also have their Spidey sense be like, she's over there! My Spidey sense is tingling over there. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how it feels sometimes when I'm playing Invisible Woman and I get dove a lot by either a Spidey or a Black Panther or Magic, whatever other dive heroes you can think of. It's actually quite annoying. Now, she has a extra thing with her melee called Agile Strike, but I'll be honest, I don't think I ever use this at all. It's a 3-hit combo that will launch enemies in front. It'll just kind of launch them up. So if I was to go over here and do this, yeah, it launches them, but...
Invisible?
By the way, get used to hearing her say that. What am I, invisible? She says that a lot. At times it does get a little annoying. And then lastly, her ult, Invisible Boundary. Manifests an unseen force field within a chosen area, rendering allies inside undetectable by enemies and providing healing over time. Enemies that pass through the field are slowed. So you can see you're able to just kind of target where it wants to be. If I see oh, my allies are low health.
Disappear!
And then you can see the healing over time it does.
Now I see them.
So let me try that again.
Disappear!
See the healing? So yeah, this is still right now considered one of the best healing ults in the entire game. Because of the healing over time and, well...
Disappear!
Being able to, like, once you step out here... In fact, hold on a second.
Disappear!
So I don't think it's going to be able to work like this, but basically, if I see... As it says, like, if an enemy invisible woman casts it on her allies right here...
Disappear!
I would not be able to see the enemies right there. The only way I can see them is if I enter the force field. Now, they can't see my allies if I put it on them over here. But they can still be able to shoot and hit them. They just can't target them. Like, they can't see where they are, but they can still fire at them and try to just do some damage, especially if they're trying to, like, I don't know, farm their ult charge or whatever. So even though it may not do as much damage, but also keep in mind, it doesn't make them invulnerable. So if an invisible woman casts this, and let's say a Moon Knight then casts the Moon Hunts You over it, or if Iron Man shoots his maximum pulse, you could still die in it, in her ult, even if, like, you know, if you're inside it, just because that's just too much damage for the ult to heal. It doesn't make you invulnerable, it just grants healing over time. But it doesn't help with burst damage. So that's Sue's character. And then we have Johnny.
I get sick of people asking me for a light.
The Human Torch, which I will admit, I'm not really much of a Human Torch player. I tried him and I was like, I don't think this is a character I'm going to play very often. So, I'm pretty sure he got nerfed this patch, because for a while he was absolutely one of the top DPS in the game. But he is a flying DPS, as you can imagine. You see these things around him. So, Johnny has this thing. Alright, let me go over his abilities. So, he can launch forward a cluster of spitting fireballs, as you can see. It's just a cluster of fireballs there. His right click is launching a fireball that deals damage or creates a flame field at the targeted area. But it has to do with his E, which is Pyro Prison. When two or more flame fields exist, connect them to form a firewall that deals one-off high damage to enemies that pass through the wall, or continuous burning damage if the wall exists in an enclosed area. So you put those down there and...
Let's cook some more!
And that's kind of like, you know, I did it rather poorly. This is one of the reasons why I don't play Johnny. I'm terrible at setting this up. I see other players do it, and it's a very annoying thing to deal with. So, like, Johnny will set this up, and then...
Let's cook some more!
And then he's got this big square here, and anything inside that square takes lots of damage, as you can see. See that?
Dog!
So imagine, like, you're coming out of your spawn, and then torches set this up. Now, you have to do this rather quick, because as you can see, I threw down 4, but only 3 of them activate, because you throw one down, and it tends to go away rather quick. Like, you can just throw those and it'll still do damage, but of course the idea is that you want to get a whole bunch of them down, and then whah! So that way you can be able to get the continuous wall of damage they have to walk through. That's the idea, anyway. And you can see the charges. Now, of course, I have the no ability cooldown thing active, that's why it's not going away. But there's 3 charges, that's why it's a little tricky to try and get all of them activated.
Bad guys.
His shift is basically just fly faster. You hold it down, he flies faster. That's it. That's all it is. Just a way to get around the map faster. His F is interesting. Flaming Meteor. Dive towards the ground, dealing damage to enemies. They will also detonate. Any flame fields are hit and grant you bonus health. So if I throw this and then... BAM! It exploded and did extra damage. Plus it also gave him some bonus health, as you saw there. Because, of course, if he's going to go down there, you know, put himself in a vulnerable place. Of course, he can also do this and then whee, fly away. His ult is where things get a little interesting. And he has a team up. Oh my gosh, I gotta try and show you guys the team up. So he has a team called Supernova, reference to the movie, of course. Explode with cosmic fire to deal damage to enemies within range and enter a supernova state. While in supernova state, blazing blast will transform into flame, tornado, and plasma body can be activated without any cost.
Supernova!
So yeah, now you throw these down and it's a flame tornado!
One more makes 4.
Wow, 4 in a row. 5.
Yeah.
Amazing. 6 in a row.
Also, it's worth noting, if you activate this close to enemies, it deals damage to them as well.
Supernova!
As you saw there.
Yeah, it's me. 3 in a row.
So let me see if I can also show you guys the team up with Storm. Because it's kind of nuts. When they showed it off, we were all just blown away like, what?
Hurricane incoming!
Whoops.
Firestorm!
They're ahead of us.
So yeah, you can empower Storm's ult to be a flaming tornado.
Hurricane incoming!
Firestorm!
Yeah! It's pretty nuts. One more time. Come on, Storm.
Hurricane
Firestorm!
Double KO.
Did you guys see that?
Now, I believe that also... Let me go ahead and... If you're wondering, does that use up your ult charge? Yes, I believe it does.
Hurricane
Fire!
Yeah, you'll see that his ult went to 0%. So yeah. These team-up works where both players have to have their ults ready to go. And then they have to, like, basically synchronize. Like, okay, we're now going to use both of our ults at the same time in order to pull this off. That's basically how that works. So that's Johnny.
Hurricane
Now let's talk about Ben.
Well, it ain't easy being this strong or this handsome.
So, the Thing has become one of my favorite tanks in the game. He is a straight-up brawler. Like, you go in and you just brawl, man. Of course, you also should have your teammates around, and I'll explain why in a moment. But basically, his main attack is he's just jabbing. He's a boxer. He's a fighter. He's a puncher. You just go in and you just fight. The real fun, though, is his right-click. Stone Haymaker. Deliver a devastating heavy blow.
Too easy.
Double KO.
As you probably just noticed,
That looks
that
like
pierces.
finally someone worth clobbering. That's
And does a decent amount of damage. So yeah, it pierces and does a decent amount of damage. Plus, it's just so satisfying to hear. Listen to the sound.
too easy.
Double KO.
I just love the clang that goes off when he lands that. It's so satisfying. His shift is Yancey Street Charge. Continuously charge forward, launching up enemies and leaving behind a zone at the final position that prevents the use of mobility abilities.
Coming through. Yeah.
So they keep taking damage, but the more important thing is that then they can't use their mobile abilities. So let's say you have a Spider-Man or a Black Panther or a Magic diving your team. You do this on them.
Sure.
You not only kind of like disorient them, but now if they have a mobile ability, they can't use it while they're being affected by that. He is one of the best anti-dive tanks in the game. Now you're seeing that E confirm. His E is also very interesting, but you do need people to help make this happen. Embattled Leap. Jump towards your ally and apply damage reduction to both of you.
Benji's here.
So you'll see both of us now have that little
Oh yeah.
circle of rocks around us. Now, give me a second because I'm curious about how much it actually does, because it doesn't say in the game. Unfortunately, there's information that is not in the game that you can only find via the website. which is very disappointing. Like, come on, Rivals, just go ahead and, you know, just go ahead and add it to the game. It would really help out people. More information is not a bad thing. Alright, so I'm looking at... Let me check the website here to see. So, okay, so the website says it applies a 25% damage reduction effect to yourself and ally for 3 seconds. So it's 25% less damage, which can be very, very helpful. But again, this is information that's only available in the game because you can see it doesn't show that in the game, but it shows it on the website. In fact, what does it say about Yancey Street Charge? 8-meter radius and 4-meter spell field, and you gain 200 bonus health during your skill activation. I didn't even realize that. The bonus health I got while I activated, because you're basically using this to try and charge into the MET.
Double KO.
Now his ult, you ready for a classic?
It's clobbering time! Oh, you...
I love how he shouts that. It's clobbering time! It's so satisfying. It's just great. But as you can see, use immense power to launch all enemies in front of you into the air. He's an earthbender at that point. Now, there is a bit of a wind-up to this to get it going. And if you jump when you come down, it doesn't actually happen until you, like, land. Let me see if I can actually get him up top to show you. I actually don't know if he can actually get up there. Maybe this way? I haven't explored all that much of the practice range, as you can probably guess.
Got your back. It's clobbering time!
As you can see, it has decent range.
Someone worth clobbering. It's clobbering time!
Alright, so that was kind of an example. Off the top rope!
Fighting me.
Let's do this again. Off the top rope!
It's clobbering time!
Okay, so it didn't hit that third one, so yeah, it's not that far.
It's clobbering time!
And it's not that wide. But it can still be really helpful because it does stun them for like... Okay, stuns them for 2.5 seconds, according to the website. So during that time, you can be able to finish off someone who's low health because they are stunned. Whether it be you or a teammate.
Probably should have stayed home, kid.
But yeah.
Too easy.
And then when I mentioned the team up with Sue, what I showed you with Reed is basically the same thing with Ben and Johnny. And as a tank, I feel like it's especially helpful for Ben because here's the issue that I've learned with Thing. He's great for going into the front lines, but if he doesn't have an ally to jump to, if he has no teammates around, he can't do this.
I'll cover.
He can't get the damage reduction. So you need to have teammates around. So either you need to make sure you are brawling near your team, or you need to make sure that your teammates know, hey, I need one of you guys to be near so I can do this. If you have a diver, try to get to me so that I can dive to you so I can help give you some damage reduction to help against that diver, you know? Like, I can leap to you and then I can do this. Just as a way to help you out.
It's clobbering time!
So yeah, really enjoy Ben. He's definitely become one of my favorite tanks in the game. And then there's Emma Frost.
I proudly wear the X, even when it clashes with my ensemble.
So, I'll be honest, I haven't really taken a shine to Emma as one of my favorite tanks. She's not really my kind of style. She's interesting, don't get me wrong. She's a very interesting character. But not really the type of style that I like to play. So, she has two different forms. She has her regular form, and then she has her diamond form. And, of course, her abilities change when it's her diamond form. But in her normal form, her left click is Telepathic Pulse, which is she fires Silent Beam that deals damage, and the longer the beam hits, the higher the damage it does.
Did you even train for this?
Now, I believe in this patch they increased the range to be this far away. So she has decent range with this, but as you can see, the beam is actually not that wide, it's not that big, so you do have to actually like have a decent aim to make sure that you can actually focus this on people, or good tracking, which is something I admit that I have a tendency to struggle with, is tracking people as they move. But as you can see, once you can get, if you can get to 100%, 100 charge, woo, it does really good damage. Now, when she goes to her diamond form, her left click changes to a punch.
Impervious!
Which, as you can see, does pretty decent damage because they are being hit by a diamond fist. So, her right click in her normal form is creating a barrier, which looks like, of course, like this, like a diamond, because of course it's Emma Frost. And in her diamond form, her right click becomes a flying kick.
Priceless!
Which knocks enemies away as well. Bam! Now, her E is very interesting. In her regular form, it's called Psychic Spear. Seize control of an enemy's sentience? Damage dealt to the sentience cascades to the physical form and can be pierced by telepathic pulse. When the sentience shatters, it unleashes extra damage on its owner. So, basically, the idea here is
Your mind is mine!
you damage that, it does damage to the enemy. That's basically how that works.
Mental domination!
So you're able to do damage to both them and, in two different ways. It's kind of like when you hit them with an Eye of Agamotto and they take extra damage in both forms. Now, when she goes Diamond form, however, her E becomes something different called Carbon Crush. She lunges forward and grabs enemy, then executes a back slam to inflict damage. So let's be honest, it's a choke slam. I mean, it's not quite a choke slam in the sense we usually know it, but come on, anyone who's watched pro wrestling, we see that we're like, choke slam. Of course, when Emma Frost does this, other people also have a different idea of what's going on because they see Emma do that and they're like, "Mummy," because Emma is well, yeah, she's her. She even has a line of dialogue with Sue where she says, like, Sue, you may be a mom, but you are not a mother. Yeah, she's got some her actress really nails it when it comes to Emma's character. That she is, she is her, Now, her ult. Oh my goodness, her ult. Psionic Seduction. Project a forward psychic assault that stuns foes and prevents them from unleashing their ultimate abilities. If the effect lingers, it gradually commandeers their mind, forcing them to move towards Emma Frost.
Peasants!
Now that's White Queen, my people.
So yeah, as you can see, it does a decent amount of damage and it makes the enemies walk towards them like yes, master, I will walk to you. Ah! What's happening to me?
Peasants!
You were outclassed.
And of course, the fact that she shouts, "Kneel, peasants!"
Me.
Yeah, I mean, I know she's a queen, but come on. She has a team up with Magneto and Psylocke, where basically the two of them are able to create projections of themselves.
Ah, look who's here.
As you can see, where they can do multiple things. Emma Frost can form a mental link with Magneto and Psylocke, calling on her to create illusory projections. When together, Emma Frost will create a mental projection of Magneto and Psylocke, forming a duplicate illusion in the enemy's perspective that confuses foes by moving and casting abilities on its own. So yeah, the projection can do Psylocke's attacks. I've tested this out on Magneto, where his illusion will also cast his barrier. Or rather his shield, not the bubble, but the big shield he puts in front of him. So you basically have 2 shields at that point when you're at Magneto. So it's a pretty strong team up. And then lastly, the newest hero added to the roster, Ultron.
Your kind is flawed on every level and beyond repair.
Sadly, he is not voiced by James Spader, to my everlasting sadness. How I wish that had been the case, but it's alright. So, he is a flying healer. His main attack is Unleash a Burning Energy Beam. Does a bit, and then does a bit of burst damage at the end there, as you can see.
Double KO. That's 3. Wow, 4 in a row.
By the way, this thing has insane range. I am hitting that bot from across the map.
5. That's amazing.
You see this? I am backing up, and I'm still hitting this thing.
6 in a row. Wait.
Seriously, this thing has infinite range. That is insane. I don't know of another character in this game that has infinite range like that, except for one who just got it in a team-up recently, but yeah. But yeah, the fact that he has infinite range is kind of insane. Now, that does not do any healing, in case you're wondering. Look, see? No healing. That's not how he does his healing. The way he does his healing is he puts a drone on somebody.
Embrace perfection.
Imperative. Patch. Command a giant drone to follow an ally, constantly healing allies within its radius with more healing for the designated ally. So, you put this on a tank, and your DPS are surrounding that tank. The DPS are also going to get healed, but the tank is going to get healed a little bit more. And then that goes hand in hand with the right click, which is imperative. Firewall. Summon drones to grant bonus health to allies within range centered on himself and the ally that is marked by the patch. So, it can be either allies surrounding me or allies surrounding the drone.
We will go, my children.
So you can see, like, I gave him a wall, and those two also got walls as well, because it was within the range of that bot there. That's basically how that works. His shift is just like, well, okay, not just like, because Johnny can stop his whenever he wants. But Ultron's is, he flies quickly in direction of movement and then enters and accelerates, say for about 7 seconds or so. You know, just extra mobility. His ult, Rage of Ultron. Summon Ultron drones to fire rays that damage enemies and heal allies.
Extermination! 20 eliminated.
Double KO.
Pathetic.
Now, before this patch went live, I believe people were saying that this was actually, this was not very good, because he couldn't even, like, I think Boger was the one who showed that he couldn't even kill, like, a full health Groot. Well, let's test it now in its live form.
Extermination! Ultron is trying.
Okay, so they definitely buffed it.
This is my
Also,
natural selection.
his drone works just like Zenyatta. If you block LOS of your ally, it goes away. So if you've played Zenyatta in Overwatch, you probably understand the idea of, I need to stay in line of sight of my ally that I have my healing orb on, otherwise the healing orb goes away. It's the same thing with the drone on Ultron.
Go, my children.
And as you can see, because he's constantly healing allies, he's able to get his ult pretty fast.
Extermination! Drone strike complete. Critical hits. Those beams of
And I think, okay, let's try to do this from an AoE standpoint.
extermination! Termination.
So it's decent size AoE, as you can see. The spell field is decently big, not too big. But let's say you can combine this with, say, a Groot ult, for example. And it can do some decent damage. But let's try to remember this is also a healer. This is also meant to also be used as a healing ult as well. If, let's say, your team gets caught in a Groot ult, you hear, I am Groot, and then you're like, oh gosh, let me heal you guys while you're caught in that Groot ult. And that's basically how that can work as well. Now, he has a team up, ironically enough. This is very amusing, considering the animosity that he has towards Stark. He has a team up with Iron Man. Nano Ray. Iron Man uses nanotechnology to upgrade Ultron's arsenal, enhancing his ray to Nano Ray. During its active phase, Ultron fires an unstoppable ray straight ahead that pierces through all characters, delivering massive damage to enemies while simultaneously restoring health to allies. So think Moira's ult in Overwatch.
Quite an upgrade. Behold the superior Emperor's perfection. Make yourself useful. Extermination! Threat eliminated. Quite an upgrade.
So yeah, very similar to Moira in that regard. So he's got kind of a cross between Zenyatta and Moira in his kit here.
Termination.
So yeah, those are all the characters that have come out since launch. Post-launch, I should say. Post-Season 0. Now, as you can see, if they're getting consistently damaged, they're like not gonna like stay alive forever.
This is my
You are going to have to work at trying to do some more, like, yeah, you can put the drone on them, but trying to get the firewall on them is really going to help. But of course, without the nano ray, the main thing you're going to be doing is trying to help damage enemies, unless you have the nano ray. This is why some people have been asking a lot for Iron Man, because this really does help with Ultron's healing.
extermination.
Even though he also has his ult to do that, but otherwise, if you don't have Iron Man, you're mainly just going to be doing this, focusing on damaging enemies while putting the drone on, and then, of course, activating the firewall. So he's not the easiest character to play, but is he the hardest? Probably not, but like, I don't think he's the most complicated or hardest character to play in the game, but to make sure that, like, in a team fight environment that you can actually be able to pull off mastering him or playing him well to help your team, yeah. Like, if you have good aim, then you'll be able to do a really good amount of damage. But of course, the main thing you're going to need to try and work on and do is, of course, your healing as well.
This is my unnatural selection.
So yeah, let's say I definitely want to play and learn Ultron more, or try to get better at him. And of course, you know, because Iron Man is the team up, he has the anchor buff, so he gets like 5% more damage. So you may see more Iron Man in the game. In fact, you'll probably see lots of flyers this particular patch, port of the season, because this is like, we've got, you know, even though Johnny was nerfed, the thing is Storm is also going to be good. You know why? All right, let me talk about some of the more recent team-ups. So first of all, some of the team-ups that we used to have are gone. The symbiote bond is gone. Poor Spider-Man players. No more symbiote bond with Venom. Yeah, I'm not fond of Spider-Man players, if I'll be honest. Also, the infinite ammo team-up is gone. Thank you. I hated that as a Doctor Strange main. Hated that team-up. Also, the Luna Jeff team-up is gone. But that's because Jeff has changed. In fact, I actually may like this new version of Jeff more. I hated the old Jeff, mainly because I just hated the way people played the old Jeff. The way he would be in the backline, harassing the backline, just DPSing the whole time, not being a healer. Oh, it infuriated me. Especially when he had this team up with Luna, because then he could just do an absurd amount of damage. It was ridiculous. And the team up with Hawkeye and Black Widow is gone, but some new team ups are here in play. So I will say that I do miss the old Gamma team-up for Strange, and now Iron Man doesn't have it anymore because he has it with Ultron. Only Namora has the team-up with Hulk now, which is kind of amusing. I should also mention that Ben has the team up with Wolverine that Hulk had.
Reason I'm Aunt Petunia's favorite nephew.
All right, Logan, go get him. So yeah, I remember I had a rather fun game.
Reggie's here. Gotta hit harder than that.
I had a rather fun game where I had this Wolverine player. I just kept launching him towards the enemy team. And I was just like, all right. Oh, that went away. That's sad.
Butter up.
Butter up, and here we go. I just kept throwing him towards the enemy team. And at the end of the game when we won, I asked him, you had fun, Logan? And he was like, dude, you're insane. I imagine he had a rather fun time of me just throwing him around the whole time. It was actually really fun. Just like, go get him, Logan!
Finally, someone...
So, Bucky has a team up with Cap, because of course he does. Where they do this clash thing.
Should be fun!
Another shield. Thanks.
Winter Soldier can leap to the aid of a designated ally, slamming the ground with his mechanical arm to damage him by foes. And that's the thing I want to point out. This is not just for him and Cap. This is for Bucky and anyone on the team. You can be able to go ahead and do this clash where you do this. Where you do damage, but you also provide shielding for yourself and your ally. Also, they gave him 2 charges of his E. Let's just say I may actually start playing Bucky a lot more now, especially with if this team up is around. If I see a Cap player, I'm like, I want to play Bucky.
On it, Steve!
So we can do that. But you grant bonus health to allies within range. If you do so with Kim and Cap, it does a shockwave that damages, plus it also slows enemies.
Ready, partner?
Always ready, Cap!
So yeah, you can see,
Better than one, I guess.
yeah, with the bonus health and everything. So that's actually become like one of those team-ups I really like in this current version of the game. Oh my gosh, the Rocket Penny team-up. This is insane.
Partner,
You guys sick of the nests, the spider nests?
I found more booms. Yeah, what an upgrade.
Well, too bad, because we're going to have even more now. Because Rocket's beacon is now also a spider nest. Okay, hold on. Let's get this back up.
Spider beacon in.
It not only is a spider, it puts out the spider mines, but yeah. I mean, it still serves a beacon, but it also puts out the web, it puts out mines.
Spider beacon in service.
It puts out the armor packs.
Yeah, what
And that's just what Rocket's able to do. Let me show you what Penny can do. She has 2 nests.
Spider hero in any reality.
She has her regular one,
Counting on you, friends.
and she has an extra one.
Extra strength awesomeness. My trap worked.
Rocket Raccoon upgrades his BRB by integrating the Bionic Spider Nest effect. Now the beacon creates spiderwebs in place and periodically spawns arachnomines and spider drones. Penny can additionally deploy an armored spider nest that periodically drops armor packs. So she can put one that drops armor packs, which give 50 health, not 25 like Rocket's does.
My trap worked.
And she can have a regular nest. And then combine that with Rocket's beacon. That is a lot of spider nests. A lot of mines.
It's amazing. It's
And then when you ult, you spread the webs around to make it where the mines can go even farther. This is one of the most insane team-ups I've ever seen in this game. Look at this. The mines can go all over the place where the webs are. This team-up is insane, and I have no problem now just banning Penny every single game. The only issue is when somebody on my team makes it clear they want to play Penny. I'm like, oh, but I want to ban Penny. Because this is just an insane team-up. Holy mackerel. By the way, I mentioned I'm a Doctor Strange main nowadays. Now, Strange doesn't get anything like he used to with Hulk, but he does get his extra health from being the anchor with Wanda, who then gets this. Which I guess I was hoping it does AoE damage. It doesn't seem to do AoE damage at all. Like, not really. See that? There's like no AoE damage. But if you hit them directly, That's not bad damage.
Sorcerer Supreme!
So let's just say that as a Doctor Strange player, I've been getting some more Wanda players that have been like, hey, I'm going to play Wanda because we have a Strange. In case we were wondering, yes, I am a Lord Doctor Strange, as you can see. I've only gotten 2 characters to Lord so far, Doctor Strange and Cloak and Dagger. So I showed you the Storm team up with Johnny. Storm has another team up. This one is with Jeff.
I am a mutant.
Feel the wrath of the goddess! The jaws of fate!
The sky.
You are not seeing...
But it had to be done.
Your eyes do not deceive you. That is, in fact, a Jeff NATO. In fact, let me show it from the other side. Because Jeff has gotten a change. And actually, let me show you something about Jeff. Jeff is different nowadays. Like, of course he has his heal, right? On his left click. If you recall, his left click did not do damage. The way he did damage was this. This is how it used to work. Just infinite, like, spamming of the spit. Just spit, spit, spit. Never stopped. Just constant. Until he had to, like, of course, you know, reload his ammo. Nowadays, it's only 3, and he can only put out 3 bubbles before having it recharge. Here's one of the things that's changed about Jeff.
Double kill!
His left click now damages. I thought this patch was going to make Jeff unplayable. Everyone, when they saw the patch notes, thought they took Jeff out back into an alley and they Ole Yellered him. That's not what they did. They perhaps made him even easier to play. Now, he's not the DPS backline menace like he used to be. He's not going to be in the backline doing this all the time like he used to. That's gone. Also, he can't stay underwater infinitely anymore because you can see he now has an energy bar. So when it runs out, he has to come back up. So you're not going to have Jeff's like swimming around infinitely all the time like he used to. That's no longer a thing. But what you are going to have now, and this is what I've been doing in a couple of games, is having Jeff behind his allies while also making sure he can hit enemies because he's not just healing his allies, he's also damaging enemies. And this is what I've been doing in most games, testing out Jeff, is just holding down left click, and this is how I've been playing him. I'm just here, just...
That's 3! Wow, 4 in a row! 5! That's
Alright, so let me show you the team up here. It's Jeff NATO!
Hurricane incoming!
Nom 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 nom. So yeah, they'll just get randomly spat out if that happens. Because of course he does still have his old ult.
double kill! That's 3!
Hurricane incoming!
So yeah, that's the new Jeff. Alright, so Black Widow has a new team up with Punisher, where now Punisher is actually considered one of the best DPS in the game. He not only has 5% more damage, he also has 25 more health, not 25%. That'd be insane. But Black Widow now has probably a much better team up than she used to. Like, she used to have the thing with the afternoon image just like Hawkeye does with his ult, right? Well, that's not what she has anymore.
Time for punishment.
The Widow's bite is lethal.
Double kill!
Here they come.
That's 3! Wow, 4 in a row! 5! That's amazing!
Nice up there, Frank.
6 in a row!
So if you do this from the hip, you do have to wait a second. But if you're scoped, you can just keep on doing it.
Trifecta. Time for punishment.
It pierces. So yeah, this is, by the way, this is on a 10-second cooldown.
Bite is lethal.
Yeah, this is kind of insane. This is probably gonna make Black Widow a decent character to play now. Seriously. Not to mention that Punisher is also pretty good, so you may see Black Widow more often these days. Now, as for Hawkeye, oh my lord. You want to see something that is absurd and just absolutely, like, they even put a wall here to try it out. Alright, I have to talk about this. Ice Arrow. With the blessing of Luna Snow, Hawkeye is imbued with the ice energy, allowing him to fire ice arrows that pierce through enemies. If an ice arrow travels beyond a certain distance, it stuns any enemy it hits. If it strikes before reaching that distance, it instead slows the target. The farther the ice arrow flies, the greater its damage. I also want to point out, it doesn't say this, it goes through terrain. That's why this wall is here. You don't believe me? Look at this.
Ice arrow unleashed.
See? It hit that thing.
Now that's cold.
You can hit this from across the map.
Ice arrow unleashed.
You see that?
Now that's cold.
So you can hit somebody with this from across the map, freeze them, and then... Well, if you have decent aim. I obviously don't, because I'm not a Hawkeye player.
Chilling accuracy.
Double KO.
That's cold.
That's 3.
If you can be able to make it where you can hit their head.
Ice arrow unleashed.
And remember, the farther it travels, the more damage it does. So let's back up. Again, through terrain.
Chilling accuracy.
You see that?
Chilling accuracy.
This is absolutely insane. This is one of the most insane things I've ever seen them do. Whose idea at NetEase was it, like, hey, let's give Hawkeye an ability that lets him hit people through terrain? Yeah, that sounds like a brilliant idea. By the way, Jeff has another team up. It's with Venom. It's rather odd.
Back to full strength.
Venom shares a part of a symbiote with Jeff. When using the team up in either his normal state or during hide and seek, Jeff extends symbiote tendrils to nearby allies, linking with them. Linked teammates receive continuous healing. When the ability reaches its maximum duration, all linked allies will gain a large burst of healing, with excess healing being converted to bonus health. So I can be back here doing my thing, and I can hit my X, and they're just getting continuous healing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it lasts about 4 seconds. Now let's wait and have him be a little low on health. Actually, let's use it with these guys over here. And remember, I can do this while I'm underwater as well. And as you can see, it can be pretty... So if you're behind your entire ally team here, you can just put tendrils on all of them and just give them a bunch of healing. By the way, remember, his left click has infinite range. You can just keep on healing somebody from across the map. In fact, now, you can damage people from across the map with this, right? If you angle it right, I guess. Alright, hold on. Guys, I think we may have an infinite range issue in this game. I'm just saying. This might be an issue. So as you can see, pretty decent healing with that team up there. Let's see. Doesn't look like there are any other team-ups I missed. Those are basically a lot of the new ones. If I haven't shown it to you, which I don't think I have, this is the new team-up that... remember how Namor had his ice squid with Luna? Well, now he has this.
Gamma spawn.
So yeah, it's a squid that's gamma powered and does quite a bit of damage actually. That's a full health tank enemy, and it just keeps on doing it. Look at the damage it does.
Typical air breather.
Double KO.
So yeah, that's pretty decent damage. Also, this got buffed. Notice how much wider the circle is? Now that's interesting. It didn't kill it.
Well done, he got.
I thought hitting an enemy in the dead center of the circle would kill it. Apparently not.
Never had a chance.
But those are the new team-ups, and those are the new heroes added to the roster post-launch. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to mainly show you guys in this video, and I will probably be looking to do more stuff about the stories from the characters, not to mention, if you guys do want me to show you some more stuff in terms of like videos on how each character plays in games, feel free to share that in the comments, and I will look to see if I can go ahead and set that up like I did with games like Overwatch. So, stay tuned.